My wife of 7 years had an emotional affair with another person, exchanging over 5,000 text messages in less than 2 months. She works with the person and has cut off non-work contact, but will not leave her job. Asking her to leave her job would result in termination of my marriage, most likely. My wife has told the therapist our relationship was strong before the affair, and that it started as helping a friend through a difficult time. His sister committed X last December when this started. My wife can offer me no suggestions as to anything I can do, large or small, to bring her joy, and has told me that she's sorry, and I deserve to be with someone who makes me happy. Supposedly, she wants things around the house, but I have been moving the earth at home for the past 5 weeks without so much as a positive blip as a result. We have been going to counseling for over a month, but I am still unable to get her to say the words. I want our marriage to work, and I will try my best. She has made some efforts to change, but is not doing enough of the right things, nor is she interested in doing so. She has told me she doesn't love me, doesn't know if she has hope for us, and is basically just giving effort for the sake of our 2 kids. I feel that her family's strong Christian background is also a reason she hasn't left major disappointment to her family if she quit. I imagine by her lack of effort, and every day I feel further apart from her. There are basically 3 reasons I'm still here. 1, my kids, 2, belief in marriage, and 3, she is who I want to be married to. Complicating the situation is that she believes that there should always be romantic love in a situation. She tells me at least twice a week she does not love me. 3 times in the past week, I've come so close to walking out. I have incredible difficulty controlling my anger and being patient. I feel near my breaking point due to her lack of effort. He is married with 3 kids. I don't know for sure, I guess, but I believe it was not physical. Supposedly, the gentleman in the affair thought I knew about the exchanges, as she was his support during a difficult time. I confronted him cordially in a planned meeting, and he told me he had no idea. I didn't know, or that this was a problem for my wife and that he would break it off from his end as well. I don't know whether to believe my wife is pretty convincing that she ended it. My current strategy is to try to improve things marginally, then revisit this. If we can improve things some, I will even move to a different city with my family if she will agree to get her out of the job situation. Is that a reasonable strategy? I'm afraid if I force this before she is ready to start working on our marriage, it would amount to a foolish ultimatum pushing a result I don't want. Is this reasonable thinking? I don't understand how filing for divorce makes anything better. I don't want divorce. So this is a step towards an ending I don't want. Shouldn't I avoid that? Am I missing something? Her phone. She clings. But I've looked at it occasionally. Nothing suspicious. Now on it. How do I get proof if she's using some app to communicate other than text? I can probably grab it at night. She might catch me, but what's she going to do? Get mad? What if I can't get proof? What then? She deleted the texts so I couldn't see them about a month ago. Even if she still has it, there's nothing on it. I'm undecided about whether to wreck their world again by telling Ohm's wife about this, but I'm leaning on doing it because as time goes on, I suspect I may not have the whole truth. I started working on myself, made some groundwork for this, lost pound 20 in last 5 weeks by 6 to 7 days a week of exercise, and going on the first diet of my life at 29-year-old can't go anywhere without getting compliments. I announced a few days ago that I was no longer wearing my wedding ring until she made some basic commitments. I told her I couldn't guarantee if I found some hottie that I would be able to resist her. I can turn up the heat on this strategy if you think it could work minus the threatening to cheat, but it has proved fruitless so far. My wife swears she does find me attractive. She agrees everything was fine. At least she did. As time goes on, she's telling me she had a frustration building, but she told the therapist everything was generally good. She says the content of the texts was generally a bunch of nothing. They were 2 minutes apart for months, so they had to be short. Many were during working hours, but it was pretty much all the time. Swiped herself late at night. No additional messaging app, absolutely nothing suspicious on phone. With one exception, deleted browsing history in her text to confidants. She cites my overbearing behavior as a separating force. My behavior has been overbearing in response to her distant nature and absent sex life. The more I think about it, I wonder if all this is it's her having significant contact with Ohm at work. If that is the case, I may be able to get her to fester. But not sure what I will be able to change. The browser history is a big question. Obviously, at times she is nice for several days at a time, but it usually breaks down when I get insecure about things. For example, deleted browsing history. And where were you today? And why are you not experiencing an attraction to me after all this effort from me? Is he still in the picture? I'm starting to realize she has to leave her job. Only problem is I don't know how that's going to go. Sounds like I have to issue ultimatum on that point. But as we all know, An ultimatum could work, or it could go totally sideways. And if it goes sideways, then what would I really move out, even though that's not what I want? Or would I accept her at her word that she's working on and stay as long as possible? I actually made it clear in the beginning that the situation was not acceptable. 5 weeks ago, we started going to AMC. My starting point was no non-work related contact, thinking we could make some repairs. I never took asking her to leave her job off the table. In fact, I had actually told her it was fully on the table, but I was using this starting point because I wanted to lay some foundations for repair. Again, 5 weeks ago, 5 weeks later, I told her, no contact. Quit your job or I'm leaving. Told this morning. She refused. I hope she will change her mind. My plan is to stand firm. I am driving 3 hours to tell her family in person tomorrow, unbeknownst to my wife, and I have called other man's wife. But no answer. Didn't leave message. Treading down a new strategy. I think it's going to lead to divorce. I don't expect she will leave her job. I hope I am wrong. It is now too late to turn back without being castrated. Here's a question I really need advice on. Have told her she must leave her job or I will leave. She said I'm not leaving my job. I'm doubling down on this strategy by sharing with her family and sharing that my intentions are to get her away from other man so we can rebuild, and that if I leave her, it will be because of a choice my wife made. This way I can hopefully get her family to say, please, you really need to choose your family. So my question is, what do I do now? She won't move out if I move out. Have been suggested by someone who's been there. It will amount to giving up custody of my kids if it goes to divorce. So where do I go from here? Please don't say file for divorce unless there's nothing else. I don't want to do that, unless I absolutely have to. Is getting my wife fired really going to help my marriage? I can see lots of negative consequences in my wallet if I pull this one few days later. So a lot has happened. I had lots of tasteful and moral fun on Friday and got myself purposefully tagged on FB, had fun and had some success in generating a little jealousy too. Then I had an intervention with her family and told everyone everything and how bad it was. Then I called Omar's wife, and that's when crap hit the fan. I found out lots of details about ongoing issues, continuous lies, and unbelievable yet undeniable facts about an ongoing relationship with Omar, including several bold-faced lies from my wife being exposed from just 2 days ago. Initial confrontation was 5 weeks ago, so I did what anybody would do when they learned their spouses had an affair. I confronted her catch as she was at work when I found out she wouldn't let me give it to her tactfully by leaving with me during the workday. So I shouted the story at the top of my lungs at the hospital and got myself escorted out by security. I want everyone to know that I am now. Come. I know this has now changed and that I must control my emotions for my kids. There is a different spin now. I intend to file for divorce. I'm not saying she couldn't stop me from divorcing her, but I give her no guarantees. Omar told his wife about my wife and that he has 2 women he's been talking to. They have talked to lawyers, and he has been telling her he doesn't love her for 6 months. No doubt that's where seeds got planted for my wife. Own wife wants to offer, but things look bleak to say the least. This also isn't the first time he's cheated on his wife. I have a feeling my wife isn't coming home tonight. Actually, she just got home. I'm surprised. Told her filing for divorce, she doesn't care. She wants one too. She's fuming about me showing up at her work. Says she's not leaving her job. Told her. Okay, then it's definitely over. Told her if she lets the devil go, chooses God, and leaves her job, maybe I could work toward forgiveness. She refuses, headed to divorce. Most certainly not what I wanted. I love her. I totally regret this is happening. I miss her from the good times. Hard to comprehend. Never sleeping with her again. I'm going to miss her. Can contact HR. But that's my last effort. I think she is not in it, so nothing I can do. Don't know any OW, don't care to look. Time to start focusing on me. Going to be hard because she won't leave. She has nowhere to go. I'd like to string out the divorce, but how do I ease the pain of her living in my house? And what do I tell my kids? The mom actually called me today to make sure I was all right, and to make sure my kids and I were all right. I'm sure he did this because my wife was upset somewhere behind the scenes, but how big of an ego would you have to do this? I think my marriage is over. My wife is a brick wall. However, I did succeed in making her jealous last weekend. I could probably continue that. I live in Indiana, but whatever. No fault state caught my wife giving Obama. You know what? On tape. Help him a wreck. I had a bad moment with her yesterday where I acted a little pathetic. Right now, she just got home, and I am determined not to make the same mistake. Texted her today, told her I wanted to take custody and finances tonight, and that if we could come to a confirmed written agreement, I would be moving out possibly as soon as this weekend. After what I've discovered, I feel now like I don't want her back. So treating her cold should not be a problem. A lawyer I consulted told me if I have something from wife signed that will not impact custody case. Spent the day in church today. The funny thing is, because of this, I believe in God for the first time in 15 years. I hadn't been to church in 2 years, and my first sermon back was about honesty in marriage. She told me via text that she is not asking or telling me to move out. Not sure if that qualifies as the most tentative of requests that I not move out. I've made up my mind on this unless I can be convinced otherwise by you all. I'm moving out, provided no impact on custody case. Find it hilarious. Wife is having fun with Ohm, yet telling me not to move out. We're reading some advice, then confronting custody and money. Custody in particular. Want her to see she can go 5 days at a time without seeing her kids. When this happened, I told him he's not my friend, and the planet might not be big enough for his ego for him to call me. I can't say 100%. There's a 0% chance I will. But knowing her and knowing how I feel, I think divorce is imminent. Certainly filing is a help going to visit my pastor today as well. I did not know there was a Bible verse permitting divorce free from sin and instances of infidelity. If divorce in this circumstance is so allowable that even God can understand it, then I feel about 95% comfortable heading down that path. I'm a stubborn guy, but 5% of me would forgive her. Maybe less than 5%. I will always remember their moment. Things just took a turn for the worse. We had talked about civilly discussing money and custody they didn't want to discuss without lawyering up first. I told her if she thought I didn't know it was physical, she underestimates me that she discussed me, and that I wouldn't touch her with gloves on. Told her to stay out of my bedroom, that it is my personal space that I want to divorce, not our, and that as soon as we could agree on custody, I am out the door. Also told her that she isn't my friend, that I won't be watching TV shows or movies with her, that my relationship with her has changed. I don't want access to another word spoken in her car. Also, I gave a snide hint that I had 2 years in the car, told her to tell her boyfriend. I said hi, he calls himself her boyfriend. At this point, she'll either get a lawyer or she won't. I mostly hope we don't get into a costly battle that will have the same end as if we worked it out ourselves. Before the revelation, she was hostile. After she was hostile with a hint of fear of what I might know. I don't intend to take her back, but I don't want my kids around. Okay, getting myself into a better place. Mentally, though, progress is fragile, but it looks tough on the outside. Slipped up and sent home an email, passed him a nice, cryptic Bible passage. Told him I pity him, that someday I would try to forgive in my heart, that I would pray for his kids, and that my wife is gone because she's out the door to the curb, but that he should go back to his. I took our marriage gift Bible from her aunt, who is a nun, out-highlighted this passage, and left it on her pillow. Liz claims to be religious. I, on the other hand, have loathed church and not believed in God for 17 years ago. For the past 2 years, I've mostly only said one prayer. God, if you exist, please grant me the strength to believe in you. I went back to church last Sunday for the first time in years, and I kid you not. The topic of the day was hurt caused by dishonesty in marriage. I wept through the sermon. My wife later called it ironic. I called it the moment I regained my faith in God. How ironic is it that he answered years of my prayers while my marriage was shattered in the same moment? I'm not taking her back. Update. I told about 60 of my friends and family too. She was in strong denial about what I knew and continuing to lie to me, and I stopped this by telling her about the tape. She denied at first, as many said she would, but relented when she realized hope was lost. She committed to try to stop the lying and file for divorce, and she's looking for apartments. I tell her every day, this is taking too long and I want her out faster. I tell her I don't care about OMB. See, our relationship is over, and so she is free to do whatever she wants. She has responded by being less secretive about the relationship. She talks and texts with him late into the night. Every night in the upstairs bedroom I booted her to. He still has yet to leave his wife, as far as I know. Though I do wonder how he so freely texts and talks to my wife, and that things are as bad there as they are in my house. Last night she got emotional for the first time and apologized for hurting me. She did not mention reconcile, but I did tell her that after hearing the tape, there is no chance for reconcile. We are cordial now, but still only talking business. This is hard because I love her and miss her, but I'm still standing strong on moving her out of the house and trying to be the alpha male and be strong. Some of the other things she said: 1, she never meant to hurt me. 2, that it started out innocent and she doesn't know how it got to this. 3, that if she had it to do over again, she's not sure if she would have left her job. For that, I am not the only one that is hurting here. 5, that she still doesn't feel. I understand this was partly my responsibility that caused this, and it's not all her fault. And finally 6, that she partly didn't cut off the affair because she didn't feel like she deserved to be forgiven. I saw remorse. Guilt. She has bags under her eyes, and looks like she's carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders, but still playing her emotions close to the vest. If she asks for, I think I would tell her, leave your job, get an apartment, and I'll think about it. I make no guarantees. Her workplace. I think they probably knew before I did, even if wife another man never said anything. Second, if they didn't before, they do now, since I blew up and nearly got arrested at her job 7 days ago. And third, they do not know they are fooling around together in the work parking lot. I think I'm done talking to her family. They have enough of their own pain. I've talked to them in an intervention-like fashion, and I just don't have the desire to do it again, even if they don't know the full truth. My plan is to take your advice and keep pushing her out. But I'm not doing it to promote. I'm doing it because I don't want my wife in my house when she is not committed to our marriage. At this point, even if she did commit to our marriage, unfathomable, I would still want her out. When I see her, I wish everything was okay. So I would rather just start a new chapter and adjust to a new reality. Yes, I feel better about my path. I got the closure I needed, and I might not know all the answers. When did this start? But I know enough. I wish I knew more. But I do know enough to take care of my own psyche. In taking the path I've taken, I feel I've regained myself. I can allow myself to have fun again. First time in 6 weeks, I can successfully redirect my thoughts when appropriate. I can enjoy my time with my girls. I know she screwed up royally, and I know she will regret what she's thrown away. I have pride in the way I've handled the situation. The 5 darkest days of my life have all happened in the last 6 weeks, yet I'm still alive and even well. She hates treating me like crap, but won't move out. Wants to move out on July 8th. I really don't want her in the house. 3 more weeks. Why that date? First set of her family is available to move her. She won't let me move her or my friends. And since I get most all the friends in the divorce, she really has nobody. She asked why I was being such a jerk by being so insistent she move out now. So I thought if being a jerk would work, maybe I should actually show her what that looks like. Her bedroom is upstairs, and we had a battle where I continuously set the thermostat to 76 degrees. It really made her mad. She has absolutely no concept of how selfish it is that she won't leave. She thinks she should be able to carry out her affair and live in the house at the same time, and that I should just be okay with that. And that is not going to happen without a battle. She looks angry. I actually asked her today what her problem is. She is being a word that rhymes with witch, and it is actually mind-boggling. I have no idea what is going on with her to say. She shut down communication is the understatement of the decade. Nothing on lots of anger other than apathy. Doing good with this last pound 25, last 6 weeks with diet and exercise, but actually can lift more and run faster with better endurance. My abs look better than they did 14 years ago when I played high school sports. I can't go anywhere without someone saying, "What the hell? I just saw you a month ago. What happened?" Doing fun stuff with friends now too. Honestly, life is as good as it can be under the circumstances. But I need her out of the house to move past a certain point. I could be more of a jerk, no doubt, but that's really not who I am. The pictures thing is a thought. We still have wedding pictures hanging, and I hate to admit it, but I don't want to take them down because they remind me of a better time. I don't know if I'm ruining her life. I wouldn't say so, but maybe I'm missing something. I can't recall her ever telling me no. Even once in our 11 years, the only thing we ever fought about was the occasional battle about our physical life, which I often got bored with. She's never done anything that was bad enough for me to have too soft a response to. So it's 8 a.m. She went out with friends last night. She never came home, nor did she text me she wasn't coming home. So the game plan really is pretend like I don't care about this. How inconsiderate. A perfect example of her recent behavior. I don't care what she does, but get out of my house. She's still deep in the fog, I think. Reason I think so is what happened yesterday. Plus, the continuous correspondence. Thousands of texts per month. I bet. Playing it cooler, and we'll try to keep this up. Yesterday had her watch the kids while I had a jogging date with a new friend. I let her believe what she wanted to believe about this. However, as I left, the last thing she told me was have fun, and she actually seemed happy I was doing this. I didn't lie to her, just let her believe the worst. But my jogging friend is a man I met at church support group. There isn't much to update. She's still annoying and still hasn't moved out and doing the 180 and looking forward to the lifestyle of a single person. I'm ready to kick her to the curb, but so long as she's out of my house, I'm satisfied. Whether separated or divorced, other women are flirting with me, and I like it. Remember, in the beginning, I thought he was a poor soul who lost his sister and was innocent of being a D. When I found out the truth, I went ballistic, and fortunately didn't see home where I would be behind bars. Today, though, I have had a major personal change through this, though I am still the same moral, ethical person I always was. I now care so much less that everyone has that opinion of me. I have an edge that I did not possess before. Here is a 60-day cooling off period. She's wanting to fight me for a true 5,050. She might get it, but I'm self-employed and need health insurance. So if I want, I can quibble over the 500 worth of stuff she wants to argue over, or better yet, ignore her. But during that period, I'll save 500, put a month for each month I drag it out. So I haven't decided if I want to expedite or just get her out and milk it. I do know one thing for sure. I will find peace. That said, though, I will always be different than I was before. Update. She lured me into an email battle yesterday by accusing me of lying to her about my supposed private conversations with our kids, supposedly trying to turn them against her. I got suckered and took the bait. Didn't say anything inappropriate, but definitely came across as having a rough edge. Today, she sent those emails to her lawyer. Her lawyer sent an email to my lawyer, and I get a "What's going on West" call from my lawyer who read my emails. And fortunately, I wasn't too out of line. Not going there again with the email. All her correspondence with me is email or text. She does not actually talk to me at all. Not that I really care, but she is such a bee. I will keep the house if I can afford it. I can afford it by keeping it on an interest-only loan, effectively renting my own house from the bank, but not on a 30-year mortgage. Her name is on the mortgage, so she should ask to refinance it, but she hasn't thought of it yet. Talked to her for about an hour tonight. First time, talked to her in a week or longer. She went from straight aggressive over last month to borderline cordial tonight. Got almost all personal property settled. She said she was tiring of fighting over it and ended up giving me most everything I asked. She also volunteered to give me kids Friday so I could see them some this weekend before she goes out of town for the weekend for family reunion. Who knew she could turn the niceness back on? I know not to trust her still, but going to bed, which means one more day, closer to moving day. P.S. I asked her and confirmed Doc hasn't left his wife yet. Over past couple of weeks, I have confronted her family, blown up at her work, and sent her an email telling her, amongst other things, that her soul was in danger of being damned to hell. So that could be most of it. But she also claims to be hurting because she never thought she'd be going through this. And I got to think, Doctor, not leaving his wife yet has to be a stressor as well. Maybe I'm even getting some of the blame for that 2 days from her move-out day. Been looking forward to this a long time. I have looked at it with excitement and tried to make it come faster. But now that it's here, it sucks. At least for now. The symbolic end to 11 years. Having a lot of feelings. For example, how could she still not know what she's thrown away? And how could she still not have fully repented? And how is she not begging me to take her back? I'm going to miss her, but not her. She is now rather her. She was the past 11 years. I just want to grab her and shake her and say, "What the hell are you doing? Don't you realize what you've done?" I've had lots of fun the past few weeks, and I'm okay. But I also have a total lack of interest in other people. There is actually someone beating down my door trying to get into a relationship with me, and I just have zero interest. Definitely a tough period of time for me here. Obviously, I'm keeping with the 180. Any advice for me other than that? And what about dealing with her? All business still, the way she's treating me doesn't say I've moved on. Rather, it says you're a piece of dog crap, and I'm a lying, cold-hearted bee. Well, wife has been out since. It has been a roller coaster, to say the least. Since then, said her family moved her, and they were all in tears as I was leaving the house to let her move. I went out Saturday night and let my parents watch the girls while I dealt with a tough day in my life. Though I went home by myself, I did realize while out that meeting girls isn't going to be as hard as I thought. I'm happy about that. It seemed easier at 29 than it did at 18 last time I dated. To be clear, I'm not dating anytime soon. Wife, sister, and dad told me they are getting mixed signals from wife and made me promise not to sign papers until I was sure that's what I wanted. Wife not sending me any mixed signals, though. Last I saw her, she was still texting home every minute and spewing hate my direction. I've now had the girl since last Friday and well through tomorrow afternoon. I did let my kids talk to my wife on the phone. I did not talk to her at all, but listened on speakerphone. My 5-year-old seems to be doing okay, but my 3-year-old twice told wife that I am mad at you because you are not coming home. This actually amazed me. I didn't think she really understood what was going on. I could tell these conversations with the kids are really tough on wife. My dad told me that my mom called mother-in-law to say goodbye. I was aware she might and told her she could do whatever she wanted. This was a mistake for me to let this happen for now. Set off a new wave of emotion I could have done without. When I confronted her family, I only knew it was in Napa, and her family has been led to believe was here only, and that she has been unhappy for years. This misperception set off a wave of anger that was followed by a sudden onset of a debilitating, acute, but short 1-hour depression. To top it all off, a big customer looks ready to not renew my contract. They work, and I've got some job stress in there too. Her work as a nurse was stable and reliable and always helped iron out the ups and downs of my volunteer work. I'm kind of a mess today. I found out it was penalty of 2 days after I exposed to her family. Then I decided I didn't want Orange, so I lost motivation to expose to her family. I figured they might kind of know, though. I told her family I was leaving on a date certain that only I knew if she didn't quit her job by then. I told only one person the date, which was August 10th, and the one person I told was wife's dead. Figured that would be compassionate to tell him BC I'm tight with him, and I didn't want him worrying every day if today the day was. However, given that I left wife 2 days after talking to him late May, early June, I just figured they knew something really bad happened. I guess I was wrong. I don't think they know it's PR. I didn't come across quite this strong, but what I did say was that I was tired of being cheated on my two and treated like dog crap. That the door-to-door was 99% closed because I don't believe was capable of significant effort towards R. And then I felt bad for the kids. But that she underestimated me and that I was fine before her and will be fine after her family is under the impression she has been unhappy for years. I have a love, but not enough crap letter from her May 7th that says, in her own words, that she has been unhappy the last couple of months. Rereading the letter now, you can see the undertones of I love someone else all throughout the thing. I wonder how she became unhappy. Was it really that I didn't do enough dishes? Or could it be that it was because she was sleeping with someone else? Bottom line, though, why do I care to fight the battles to pit her family against her? They already don't approve of her behavior. I'm 99% sure I don't intend to take her back. And on the 1% chance I did decide to take her back, it would be because of a Herculean effort on her part. And to tell the truth, if she succeeded, I would be disappointed in myself for taking her back, because now I see that I deserve better. I would feel castrated, embarrassed to tell my friends and like I let myself down. No self-respect. I'm 99% sure I'm not taking her back. So given all that, why not just stick with the one party and not use her family as a weapon? When does this get easier? How long will it take before I can go? A few hours without this on my mind. How do I let go of denial and hope and start moving on? My kids last week were asking me why mommy doesn't stay at the house anymore. I told them because mommy and daddy don't love each other anymore, and that now mommy will live somewhere else. They cried, of course, and this has been difficult on them. Told them it's okay to cry, okay to be sad, etc. Today, kids were at my house, and out of the blue, my daughter says, Daddy, mommy says she still loves you and that you are separated. She really did. To my kids. I just changed the subject a little bit and didn't really acknowledge this. This process is hard. I know I shouldn't, but I wonder what, if anything, I could have done to prevent this. I feel grief and even some guilt that I couldn't protect my kids is official. Duke left his wife. I found out from my own wife. I talked to wife outside today when she swapped kids back. She clearly didn't want to talk, but we talked maybe 5 minutes. I told her, amongst other things, that I wish I could understand why she would be so okay with causing so many people so much hurt. 5 kids, other man, wife, 4 families, not even addressing my own hurt. She blamed me for the affair. I told her to think again about her own words with marriage counselor, where she had been unhappy for a couple months. She said whatever and was storming off. I didn't appreciate and dropped the nephew, which stopped her. I said, yes, you heard me right. You made the wrong choice. The better man is standing right here. I have mixed emotions about this exchange. I'd like her to just own up to everything, and I'm done rolling over. I like the fight that I have, but I also clearly have a lot of anger at home. But at the moment, more at my wife. I'd like to cut her out of my life completely, which I would do immediately and permanently right now, accepted and possible with the kids. She is probably on phone with her BF right now, dramatizing what happened and villainizing me. She probably also calls her lawyer and tell her I said F you on the exchange, so I'm likely going to be dealing with this again. Also, I did expose to the sister best friend, and I'm not absolutely sure I didn't expose to parents as well. I believe they knew no. And this weekend is when I'm traveling to see her family actually to run with her dad, who has lost pound 30 by taking up jogging over last 6 months. So whatever ambiguity was there will be squashed, but it won't matter. It's not going to change. My WW have, even if it did have gone from 90% sure I wouldn't take her back to 97% sure I wouldn't take her back. And that was if she did all the right things beginning immediately today, which clearly isn't going to happen considering the terrible person she's become. I don't see how it would be possible. I always thought I would do anything for my kids. Turns out, I was wrong. I would not remain married to a terrible person even for my kids. I don't think this is a gold digger situation for my WW. Rather, I think one dirty humor all day at work, too. Toxic work environment, 4 marriages, 3 unethical, immoral predator own. And for a WW who made bad choices and chose temptation and selfishness over family values, morality, and decency, I knew about the dirty humor at work and never liked it. I knew my wife occasionally exchanged text messages with other men during past 2 years, and I didn't like it. I did know him personally and considered him a friend acquaintance, and I never did was necessary to get her out of the situation. Why, you ask? I should have you say. Well, I trusted her completely. Completely. Well, almost completely. I would have disapproved of certain behaviors that any reasonable husband would have disapproved of. But she never gave me any reason to suspect she would be anything other than a moral, awesome, hot, dedicated wife and a great mom. She was my best friend and I was hers. She had some undesirable traits and I accepted them. I work too much and don't do enough around the house. She accepted that it worked for us. I firmly believe these things were not the downfall of our marriage. The downfall was, as I said, her succumbing to temptation and making bad choices. Nothing more, nothing less. Temptation is present in good marriages and bad marriages alike. I've certainly been exposed to it. I might even at times have made some bad choices, but was always with friends who I knew would disapprove. And I never created an opportunity to make those bad decisions absent of people who would stop me. Alcohol was always involved, and I was always thankful. The next day, after each opportunity, I passed up temptation. I think I would get over this pretty quickly, a few months, if I could sever all ties to her immediately, delete her Facebook, delete her number, tell all my friends and family to lose her contact information, and exorcise her from my life. But I can't. We have 2 kids together. Every point of contact with her is a new stab into my heart. Considering I have to see her, I have no idea how I'm going to overcome this. I'm filled with anger. I would not get back with her. I realize when most people say there's a 97% chance they wouldn't take WW back, they really mean the opposite, but not me. I really mean the door is totally closed and would have to be pried open with a nuclear explosion, and that even that probably wouldn't be enough. I'm just leaving myself an ever so slight out to keep my options open. My family might help, but they've also sworn her off completely, and there is a cold bitterness between them and wife getting family to agree to meet with wife, and conversely, wife to meet with family might not be the easiest feat. One thing I did forget, though, when I eventually start dating and I will expect to date a lot without real serious relationship, empathy and outgoing time will most definitely be on my radar as desirable traits. Wife's lack of empathy and treatment of her mother in particular always bothered me weeks later. Cutting off contact is helping. For some reason, a light switch went off as I sent her the NC letter, and I've been pretty fine since I did it. Conversation with dad and sister went well. I wasn't as graphic as some have advised, but I don't have to be. It's pretty clear to all how this ended. WW and Omi being less secretive on Facebook, I hear. I wouldn't know because I deleted WW as a friend. Well, when wife has been calling me other man found out freaked out stole her phone. Can't share much about that without violating her confidence. But take my word, this love triangle between my wife, other man, and other man. Wife has messed up the story in its entirety, including On My Side reads like a best-selling novel. The drama doesn't have to include me much longer, though. A 97% agreed on a settlement, and it's been 60 days, so I'm guessing this could be final in a month or so. Divorce wasn't what I wanted, but I now can't get her out of my life fast enough. 2.5 weeks since checking in. Things have been getting easier. Completely accepted that my marriage is over and finding contentment with that. Learning to live alone has been an adjustment. I'm 29 years old and hadn't really thought about it, but had roommates in college, then moved in with seatbacks. And so amazingly, this is the first time I've ever lived alone, getting into routines with myself and the kids and hitting my busy time at work. Fortunately, I'm finding myself able to concentrate on work again, and that has begun only over the past week or so. The biggest thing I'm struggling with lately is anger, specifically anger at my setbacks for destroying my views on honesty, integrity, trust, and marriage. I believe that I will never trust again like I did with setbacks. Also, anger that she inflicted, the pain she did on me. I'm actually not angry at her guilt, looseness, and remorselessness, because in my view, that doesn't matter anymore, since it's after the point the irreparable damage was done. I'm still drop kids off and having almost zero contact with setbacks. She is trying to be nice to me, but I've gone dark and cold on her. I'm still not interested in even pretending to be her friend. The concept of acting like nothing happened and moving forward is foreign to me. What has been done cannot be undone, and I don't feel ready to forgive. Final update. My divorce finalized on 27th. I found out a few days later I am happy again, and my kids are doing great. Ex who wants to be my friend, but I refuse. I know from OMW, who I chat with once a month or so on Facebook, that Ohm is having a year at least with someone else. I refuse to engage in anything beyond what is required, at least until the breakup with Ohm, whether that takes a month, a year, or 30 years. I fear he could be around my kids, but as far as I can tell, he hasn't been yet. Re-engage some relationship with X family. They hope XW and I can become friends and polite to the suggestion, but it isn't happening. It's weird to be in the dating world. A serious relationship is impossible for me, for I don't know how long. I was only supposed to be married once, and I don't ever intend to marry again. I bet lots of people say that, and I reserve the right to change my mind. But I'm steadfast in that conviction, at least for now. I can't see myself trusting someone unconditionally or making a complete emotional investment ever again. My comment, did you guys like the transformation of OPI, and what do you think about the one long format? Subscribe, comment down, and I will see you in the next one.